Yo, what's good, y'all? We back at it again for another video today, and this is something I've actually been wanting to do for like the last week, but you know, your boy's been getting caught up with some other things, you know what I'm saying? Had to make some other videos, but we're going to talk about the new hardest fight in the game. Now, that's definitely going to be Goku, Black, and Zamasu in the Global Dokkan Celebration Special Battle. So, I mean, this fight's been kind of marinating on the community for like at least like a week and a half now, almost 2 weeks. And I kind of wanted to go over and see what people thought about this fight. Now, gonna get a lot of mixed reviews. Personally, I thought the fight was kind of BS at first, but now that I've actually beat it and actually know like, okay, this is the strategy to use, this is how you kind of play around it. Like it is pretty fun. You know, like a lot of units in this game get clapped up by Goku Black, especially just because he's so like, every time you hit this guy, he basically gets stronger and stronger, and he's able to one-shot you pretty easily if you're not careful. And a lot of units can get caught in this fight for sure. But the fact of the matter is, you're able to dodge in this fight, which makes Dodge is back on top again for the hardest fight in the game right now. Dodge is back on top. Now, who knows, with part 2 coming out in the next week, we're going to get a new hardest fight. Who knows? I'm pretty sure we will. But as of now, the Goku Black and Zamasu stage is the hardest fight in the game. So let's get into some of these replies real quick. If you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We're on the road to the big 300 subs, baby. You also follow me on Twitch. I'm going to be live streaming there as well. And if you want to follow me on TikTok, I'm also going to be posting clips and going live on there as well. All right, so let's get into the video. So like I said, how we feel about the new hardest fight in the game, did Dokkan cook? Basically, it's going to be Goku Black and Zamasu. And let's look at some of these replies. So from Pyro Genesis, whoever decided to give it slot locking needs to go through things I can't specify. Now, okay, I can admit the slot locking is a little annoying because it's basically how you have to go through the fight is you have to beat Zamasu first, which is the ideal thing to do just because he's the one who conducts the slot locking. So once you get rid of him, you can basically float your units around as much as you need to try and counter this guy as much as you can. So he's one of the real menaces in the first couple of stages. So once you can get rid of him, like everything else is kind of going to be like, it's going to flow a lot easier. Like I said, unless you get caught by this guy, because he also regenerates his health too. So you gotta keep dealing so much damage to this guy, because if you're not dealing enough damage, his health that he regenerates, it'll outweigh the amount of damage you're doing, and you'll just be stuck in an endless cycle waiting for this guy right here to pretty much snipe you out. Usually he'll either snipe you in slot 1 or slot 3. More times than often, it's going to be slot 3. So something to be careful about. I think the slot locking is definitely an annoying tactic, because if you get a unit that can't dodge in slot 1, you're pretty much cooked. To the devs who designed Zamasu slot locking and Vegeta stunning before slot 1 can attack. So with the Vegeta stunning, that's basically in the other hardest. Or, I mean, I wouldn't call that the hardest fight, but that's stage 2. We're not talking about stage 2 though. We're talking about stage 1, because this is the hardest fight in the game right now. Slot locking is never fun. The fact that they built it just to counter Tech Vegito is silly. Is really lame. So that is a good point. They specifically made this fight to counter Super Vegito, because like I said, if this guy doesn't attack before he can get like clipped, then it's pretty much over. And also, I forgot to mention, this Goku Black up here, he does AoEs. So not only does he hit dummy hard, he does AoEs on top of that. So, you know, characters like the Fusions who aren't really good defensively before they super attack can get pieced up pretty hard, especially since this guy is int. He's the int Goku Black, and then, you know, Tech Super Vegito. So you already know how that's gonna go down. I think it's fine that they build events to counter certain units, because they know how powerful Super Vegito is. I mean, even then, even if you can get into Super Vegito, I don't think it's still going to make that much of a difference, because Goku Black can shoot through Super Vegito's active skill. But that's how strong this guy is. Like, I mean, I don't have any footage of it, but I remember, I mean, I could put it in the video. Pycon, right? I was running AGL Pycon, and that guy, he failed the dodge from Goku Black, and this is towards the end of the fight. Tell me why AGL Pycon took 12 million from a super from Goku Black, and that wasn't even a crit. He took 12 million, bro. I was flabbergasted. I'm not exactly sure how that works. I've been cooking this whole run. Hey, dude, I'm trying, bro. I really am, bro. I'm trying. Pycon, you just gotta dodge, bro. Please. Okay. Come on, Pycon. Oh, okay. Come on. Pycon. Pycon. No! No! But yeah, I mean, this just shows how powerful this guy can be. I mean, you know, Pycon low-key dodge or die, but he he got clapped. I'm not even gonna lie. Okay, from Dan the Meek. As a day one global player and an occasional medium spender over the years, I've never at any point thought, man, what this game needs is harder content. I assume that's important to whales and some gluttons for punishment, but it's not like there's much gameplay in this game, even less so with slot locking. So in most cases, all hard content means is that I can't compete it, so I pull the new necessary units, a wallet check rather than a skill check, and that's not appealing to me. Well, okay, Dan the Meek. So what you got to understand about this phrase right here is that it is a gacha game first. It's a business and a gacha game first, you know? So that's how they make their money, bro. Like you can't, I get it. It can be frustrating sometimes when there's events that you need the newest characters to beat and you're not necessarily get lucky on the summons. You're not a big spender. But at the same time, it's like, it's the nature of the beast, you know? It's a gacha game. That's how they make their money. They make events to power creep other units, which then make you summon on newer units that can handle that event. It's the way it is, man. Like I don't know what to say. In a rare case, you can clear hard content without the intended shiny new unit. It's usually an annoying RNG fest relying on the bosses not sniping your weak link defensively or you getting lucky with lots of dodging. Again, that is just not fun. That's not to say I want every fight to be auto-able, but for me, the most fun I had with Dokkan was from years 2 to 7, where you could basically clear all content with 50 plus different unique teams, so the gameplay was more about team expression, completing category missions with teams you might not otherwise have used, and just generally running whatever you were having the most fun with, be that your favorite character or an interesting new mechanic. All of which to say, not a fan of the new content, but I'm not the target audience. Even with the slot locking or rotation, RNG finally went my way. It felt more like a relief that the pain was finally over than satisfying. That said, the only content I truly despise is time-limited content. Super hard content that's permanent. I will presumably be able to win without the frustration someday, so I can't be too mad at this content for that reason alone. Okay. I mean, that's kind of like I feel like that was low-key a trauma dump right there. I mean, it was a lot to comprehend, but I mean, in the sense of this being the new hardest fight, that's just it's usually the way it is, man. Like, yeah, it's an RNG fest. Yeah, sometimes things may go your way, sometimes things may not go your way. It's the love of the game, you know? Sometimes you gotta love to hate it and hate to love it at the same time. But, you know, everybody feels better, even including myself. The game feels so much more rewarding and better when everything goes your way all the time. Because you're gonna be like, oh yeah, dude, this is the best game ever, you know, when everything's going your way. But when things aren't going your way, it's like, oh man, this game sucks. Like, I hate it. You know, it's RNG at the end of the day. It's a gacha game. It is what it is, man. Although this was a really good take, though. Okay. I mean, the gameplay is quite simple and the gacha is fine. But people want to test out their strong characters against even stronger content. True, this is facts. Without the red zone, then people would just test their units against Dokkan events and it would be less fun. Also, there would be no reason to spin or summon for new units. The power creep in Dokkan is worse than any other gacha game I've played, which I don't think most Dragon DBZ Dokkan fans are aware of, but I do think challenging fights are worth having. Okay, so I can agree with this. Without red zone, people would test their new units against Dokkan events. When you have strong units that can actually wipe out like previous hard content, it's not fun. You want to see the limitations of that new character. Like, what's the farthest you could push this character in the newest hard content and either win or lose? And sometimes, like I said, RNG might be a thing. Sometimes you might misplay the card. It all depends. But seeing how well the newest units can hold their own in the new fights, it's actually pretty fun to see. The power creep in Dokkan is worse than any other gacha game. I'd have to disagree on this. I mean, yes, they're slowly bringing up power creep more often, but I don't think it's like nothing crazy. I think the biggest power creep I've experienced in Dokkan was when the red zone first came out. I've been playing since the 6th anniversary, so this is like the first real level of power creep I've seen, where when the red zone came out, that event literally nearly cleared 90% of your box. So half the units, or maybe basically 90% of the units you had in your box were unrunnable in red zone. That was like a hard reset, bro. That's the worst power creep I've ever seen. But ever since then, it's been like balancing itself out. Like we've never had anything else like that since. And that's been like 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago. So yeah, I mean, the power creep isn't crazy. I can't agree with this. Okay. Sam Sandwich, it is truly way too much. One boss locks your units and heals 25 million HP every turn. The other gets stronger and more tanky with every hit he receives and does an AoE normal every turn. Both bosses are immune to debuffs, start off one turn with attack stats in the millions, and SA attack stats well into the millions and have massive health pools. Their typings are both strong against one of the 10-year fusions each, and the plethora of stacking units we were given so far this year that are the best units in the game have no time to build up whatsoever. Even with the brand new units take heavy damage from Rose buffed supers, it's the type where you bang your head against a stone wall praying for perfect RNG until it finally happens. In my opinion, that makes an event not fun. Well, I mean, if you're going to say that, then you might as well say that again about every event in the game not being fun. That's every event. It's basically RNG. That's every event in the game is RNG. So if you're going to say that, then say, basically you say the whole game isn't fun at that point. I felt the same way the Bulma fight and Festival of Battles. Rather than strategically using trial and error to achieve victory, I'm wasting hours of my life attempting and failing over and over again for reasons out of my control. Even in an RNG heavy game, there is such a thing as too much RNG. Skill is irrelevant when the game just decides to F you over at random. If 99% of people aren't able to beat the event within the first month of it releasing, even with the units that released alongside it, then it's not a well-designed event. Players shouldn't have to wait months for power creep to catch up to finally beat a stage. So I mean, when the only event I could really think of where I can actually agree with this is the Cell Max event when it first came out. If you guys were around, this is like the first time a superhero was getting promotion in the game. And the first Cell Max event that came out was wiping every unit in the game. Even Int Vegeta and Trunks, which was the strongest character we had at the time defensively, was getting wiped. Type advantage from Tech Cell Max, bro. That's how strong that boy was. And, you know, some people, they were able to beat it within the first couple of days due to RNG. Everything going their way, right? The dodges, sometimes the enemy wouldn't attack certain times or you just dodge. But that event, you couldn't beat it. For most people, I didn't beat it till like months later. Like when we actually got legit superhero characters, I couldn't beat it for months later. And that's fine. You know, some events aren't meant to be beaten right then and there. If you do, then hey, you're just that guy. That's all I can say. If you can beat the event right then and there, you're that guy. But that's what makes replayability a thing. You keep trying and trying and trying until you get it. And maybe you pull a character that can actually, you know, face Cell Max and you actually beat it. That's the fun part of it. Some people may not like that and that's fine. But the only, I felt this way against Cell Max. Not so much this event because we've actually gotten like a really good plethora amount of characters that can take on this event. Like for the Goku Black and Zamasu fight, I beat that with Mercenary Tao's team. So, I mean, it can be done. You know what I'm saying? It can be done. It's just, you know what I'm saying? You got to play your cards right and just... really with this fight, this is the first fight I felt where even though you have the locking, Goku Black hitting dummy hard and Zamasu healing, this event really felt like I had to play my cards right. You know what I'm saying? Like actually use some legit skill and strategy. And sometimes you might make the best move you possibly can and still get shafted by RNG. But at the end of the day, it's like you still got to make the best move possible. Like, okay, for example, there's a point where I had Int Yamcha on the team, right? And it was between putting AGL UI Goku in the first slot or putting Int Yamcha in the first slot. Now, out of those two characters, who would you feel more comfortable putting in the first slot? They're both dodge or die characters, but you have the opportunity to dodge and not get hit in the first slot. And also not being able to get hit by the super attack. I put Int Yamcha in there because I didn't trust AGL MUI Goku. He sold for me too much, and that's a personal thing. But Int Yamcha was probably the MVP of that fight because he dodged whenever he needed to. And, you know what I'm saying? He pounded out all those super attacks, you know what I'm saying? So maybe it could have went either way, but I felt putting Int Yamcha there probably was a better choice for me personally, and it was. But that kind of required like a legit strategy, like really thinking this out. Like, okay, I could put UI Goku in the first slot. He dodges, gets hit by a normal and dies. Or put Yamcha in the first slot. He dodges, gets hit by a normal and tanks it barely to where I still live, but I'm really on the verge of like dying. You know what I'm saying? It's situations like that. But I mean, like I said, bro, if you're gonna say this right here, that little one-liner right there, if you're gonna say that, then you might as well say the whole game isn't fun at that point, which I heavily disagree with. The game is fun. It could be a little annoying, but it's fun. I don't know what this fight was balanced around, but it ain't the current meta. It basically counters the 10th anniversary units while also bringing back and making dodge meta usable here at such a weird event. I mean, yeah. I mean, they basically, both those units counter the 10th anniversary headliners. So I can see that. But I mean, they gave us two prominent characters with the Blue Bros and the Goku Black and Zamasu. So, I mean, they found a way to make it work. So the best Sparking Zero player, Goku Black and Zamasu made me theirs. Hey, man, that's safe to say for a lot of the community right there. Slot locking is actual aids. They turned what could have been a cool fight into an RNG battle. I mean, it would be easy without locking, to be fair. Any of the new units can go slot 1 to the 7th anniversary EZAs for their first turn. Thinking locking is the reason why it's so hard. I'd say the reason... Okay. Slocking does make it a little bit more difficult, but I don't think that makes it hard. I think what's hard is the fact that you have two bosses that are hitting insanely hard. One of them gets buffed every time you hit him. Then on top of that, he does AoE, so he can clap your units up before they even get a chance to attack. I think that's what makes it hard, but I don't think locking makes it that much more difficult, but it makes it more annoying. Sometimes Rose can super slot 2 and 3 as well. I don't think any units not having dodge as their main defensive mechanic can tank his super double digits, since they have to attack him first, only making his super hit harder after that. I don't know who decided to make Zamasu stun, but now Goku Black needs an extra mechanic. Make him randomly stun one character every turn and the fight is good now? What? No, I gotta downvote that one. I'm sorry, brother. Yeah, no, that's a horrible take. It's definitely a breath of fresh air. Kind of brings me back to Red Zone Prime era, where you could only win some stages if you had very good recent units. It's a fun stage, and hard content is always a W in my books, but it does have some vibes of becoming too much easier by the end of the celebration. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, by no means is this event easy at all. But I kind of agree with this. We need hard content in this game. Sometimes Dokkan might be going a little overboard. Like, I can say maybe the locking might be a tiny bit overboard, but it's not enough to make me feel like, dude, this fight is so unfair. Like, what? Dokkan sucks. There's no way. Like, it doesn't make me feel that way. It's just like, oh, dang, they lock, they heal, and Goku Black can hit for over 10 million. Thanks, Dokkan. But it was still a fun fight regardless. I haven't beaten it yet, but it's fun. People complaining about the slot locking are funny. Yeah, like as if the slot locking is like the creme de la crop of why this event is hard. No, that's not the reason why it's hard. It's Goku. I mean, okay, without the slot locking, you still have to worry about the AoEs, Goku Black getting stronger and stronger, and he'll one-shot pretty much almost every unit on your team if you're not careful. The slot locking is the least of your worries right there. No matter what, every unit that goes into that fight can get touched unless you dodge. If you don't dodge, it's pretty much fair game at that point. Yeah, it's hard and fair, just like how we like it. It's easy mode once you only attack Zamasu, and after Zamasu is down, you can go all in on Goku Black. Your units are built up enough not to die. I don't know, man. Goku Black, that guy just hits too hard. But to a certain point in the fight, you can actually attack debuff him. So you build up his attack like to crazy numbers, and then once you get to a certain stage, you can actually attack debuff him, which doesn't matter because his attack is already so high. No matter how many amount of debuffs you do, he's still going to hit dummy hard. I'm kind of happy considering this event made my heavily invested Universe Survival Saga team relevant again, considering dodge is so good here. I mean, okay, Universal Survival Saga, I don't know about that one. I mean, the fact that you're able to beat it with that team actually says a lot. But I don't know, like, I don't know. Tech UI Goku, I wouldn't bring him in this event even if my life depended on it. No way. You need such high damage reduction that almost all units will get obliterated from a Rose Super. That's facts. That's facts. Almost all units will get obliterated from a Rose Super. So the slot locking doesn't matter. If Rose decides to target one of your characters and wants to give you a bad time, he will. He will. Having a Wheeze active at all times is vital, which is fine, but the RNG of not getting the slot 1 units locked off slot 1 is pretty bad. That said, the fight isn't so bad because it can be done in about 5-6 turns with a top tier team. All in all, the fight is okay, but it felt like a bit much. So, okay. I did this with a no item run, actually. So yeah, I did mine with a no item run, which shows it's possible. If you can't do it with a no item run, then that's when it's like, it's dummy hard. If you can't beat it with a no item run, then okay, it's whatever. But if you can beat it with a no item run, then it's not as hard as you think it is. And yes, no item run is harder, but if you can beat it with a no item run, then items is pretty much a done deal at this point. It's a dub. All in all, the fight is okay, but it felt like a bit much. It only feels like a bit much now because we haven't gotten characters that can completely obliterate this event. So once we get maybe like a year down the road, once we get characters that can actually sauce up Goku, Black, and Zamasu like pretty easily, then it's not going to be as bad as we thought it was. It just feels bad now because it takes a couple of turns to actually beat them, and our characters get one shot. That's why he feels this way. Queen Jellyby, you're not wrong. You're not wrong in this sense, but you're wrong in this sense, though. I'll still give you an upvote, though. Man, every time, hey you, I bet you don't want AGL Vegeta in slot 1, huh? Well, guess what, champ? Game over. I like that. That's funny. That's true, though. They cooked. I agree. This is a pretty well made fight. Could do without the slot locking, but it is what it is. Just to have a good RNG the first 2 to 3 turns, which somehow only happens every 20 plus tries. Yuma Ultim. I think you just suck at the game, bro. I don't know. I think you're just bad. It's a fun struggle battle. I like the feeling of losing a lot in fights. Other content felt a bit easier. However, locking is never fun. I can agree with that. I mean, I'm not mad at the locking, but it's like, dang, bro, they had to add some extra sprinkles on top of it. You know what I mean? The only W I can give this event is that it's not limited. Could you imagine how much worse this would be if you had a set amount of runs before it tells you, sucks, come back tomorrow? Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the limited runs is not my favorite thing in the world, so I'm glad they let you try this like basically endlessly until you beat it. That's what makes that kind of fun. Yeah, another artificial difficulty heavy fight. I don't think so. I mean, the character, I mean, it's not like 2023, right? Where we got the Dismal Future Zamasu, or the Dismal Future Fusion Zamasu, and only like a handful of units could actually carry in that fight. No. Dokkan, they did a lot better with this one. We have multiple plethora of characters that we can use to combat this fight. If this is like on 2023 level, then okay, I can see that. But no, in this era, in this fight, it feels a lot more doable, even with the plethora of other characters we have. You just got to put your teams together right. You know what I'm saying? No, Akatsuki definitely didn't cook with this one. It's dodge or die or somehow kill Goku Black before he gets max attack, which even in my heavily duped 10th anniversary plus other fusion teams couldn't do. Well, yeah, it's because they made this event to counter those characters, bro. You got to think outside the box. Sometimes if you're using the best characters in the game, sometimes that may not be enough. Sometimes, like I said, you got to think outside the box. Like in my run against Super Saiyan Blue, Goku, and Vegeta in stage 2, I had to cheese that with double cauliflaz. You know what I mean? Because my units were just getting cooked too hard. Double caulifla in that fight was definitely a cheese method, but at the same time, it's like sometimes you can't brute strength your way through a lot of these events. You got to think outside the box sometimes. You know what I mean? 80% to dodge. This mode in Million Arena only goes to show that fighters' order features need to be established to actually make these modes fun and playable to the average player. Even whale boxes find these events annoying with the constant starting RNG that decides to run before you get an actual chance. Well, okay, Million Arena, I didn't even play that and I despised it, so I can't speak on that. But this Goku Black and Zamasu fight, I mean, dude, you can say that for every mode in the game, though. Like, your starting rotation really predicts the outcome of the battle. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. You know, you start out with the wrong rotation, you get one shot. It's fine. You start out with a good rotation, you still might get one shot. You know what I mean? It's just more so, how you play the game. Sometimes it's out of your control. Sometimes you might just get lucky with the dodge, or maybe a character doesn't get supered. You know what I mean? I think, and even whale boxes find these events annoying. Well, yeah, you shouldn't be able, even with the best box in the game, you shouldn't be able to just breeze through it. That'd make it too easy, you know? And then that shows just a pay to win kind of game. But even pay to win players get cocked like super hard. It's like, okay, anybody can get it, you know, whether you pay the most amount, whether you pay the least amount. You know what I mean? Like, it just shows that Dokkan's hands are rated E for everyone. You know what I mean? Anybody can get the hands. I don't think it's that hard if you just focus on Zamasu first. Well, yeah, that's what you have to do. It's fun. Funny that I can beat it with the mostly free-to-play team. If you're talking about the Goku Black team, maybe. They could make a unit that is immune to debuffs. Kind of feels like they're making events to counter the units they previously released, which is nice. I mean, I feel like that's how it should be, honestly. Okay, well, that was pretty much this video. I mean, a couple of mixed reviews. Some people were a little disturbed about it. Some people were actually kind of like whatever about it. I think mainly what I see complaining the most is just the slot locking and the fact that it counters the 10th anniversary character so hard. Which, I mean, okay, the anniversary characters, yes, while they are made to run the whole year, that doesn't mean they can't make fights that directly counter them to make it more difficult while they're releasing other characters better than them to help you counteract that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not just supposed to use 2 characters out of the year that are going to wipe the whole event. I mean, 1, that's bad for business because they need to make more money. And then 2, it's just like, okay, well, now you know you have an auto win button, which it's never really supposed to be like that. Although I think this event, it's like a good little shake up, you know what I mean? You know, they made these 2 guys to shake down the 10th anniversary characters while giving us 2 new characters that can actually shake them down as well if you're lucky enough. But yeah, I mean, so this is pretty much the video. This is the new hardest fight in the game. Let me know what you guys think about it. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think this fight is complete BS, or do you think it's pretty fun, well balanced, while being challenging at the same time? I personally think, like, I think this fight deserves like a solid like 9 out of 10. Even though I got clapped up multiple times, this fight does deserve a 9 out of 10. No fight is perfect, but a 9 out of 10, I think that's pretty fair. All right, guys, thank you for tuning into the video. Hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.